This conference will now be recorded.
Right, so we were talking about yesterday profiling and we finished the profiling. Now we will talk about configuration file and I'll explain a little bit about what each option means in the background. Then we will enter into security today and tomorrow we'll finish the security. Two classes required for security anyway. So try to follow this. Let me see my mouse up. Okay. So here, we discuss this config file when we have done. So if we quickly compare what we have in it, is there in the slide, cat etc MongoDB and MongoConf. This is what we had, right? It's a basic thing what we kept. We will increase this more and more parameters and upcoming discussions. We'll add more parameters to it basically. So this is what the minimum configuration you have to keep. And if you see this one, this is a YAML file. We'll call this as a YAML file basically. See, consider the following basic configuration which uses YAML format. We'll call it YAML, YAML. There is a RPM also. We'll quickly talk about that and we'll see that. First, if you compare this, see for this one and this one, there is no difference in terms of config. Only thing is this is the only difference, storage. The storage journal enabled, you no need to do if it is 3.0 version above, basically. 3 below like 2.6 and all, you have to explicitly mention, then only the journal will be added to the Mongo. Okay. So this is for the older versions, like anyway, that older version no one is building and those are out of market now. Everybody should be 3.2, minimum of 3.2 basically. Why? Because 2.6 and 3.0 long ago they are went out of support and nobody might be sitting in the market on those versions. I don't think they are using it. Why? Because there are a lot of drawbacks. There is no white tiger mmap v1 3.0. The white tiger is introduced, the efficient storage engine, but 3.2 onwards is the default. I am expecting everybody, I mean, in the market should be 3.2, most probably 3.2. Like we have right now is a 4.4. Like we have a lot of versions are released. So if it is older version, this will apply. Like no 3 point up to 3.2, 3 point up to 3.0, you have to mention this. 3.2 onwards, no need to mention. By default, White Tiger will create the journal file by default, by nature. You don't need to explicitly mention it. Now, process management, net storage, and everything. Let's see in detail. Basically, this we have already discussed, right? System log destination, like you are logging the events of the Mongo where in which path. This is what log append means. Just write. Don't override the logs every time you write. Just write the logs at the end of the file. Append the logs at the end of it. So that is what it is called. Append means basically. And also there is called log reopen. Log reopen, what it does, it also writes the details at the end of the file, but when you do the log rotate, it will reopen the file automatically by wiping out everything. It won't create the archive file. That's not a good actually. Log reopen, log append, two options we have. Log reopen is never recommended. Go with the append only by default. And storage, let's talk about, guys. Just let's come to here. I'll explain parameter by parameter, get the idea. If you see, I have defined everything in detail. Fork, what is fork? If you see, we've mentioned here a fork, right? Why this fork is required? Basically, this one, fork true. This fork is mentioned. Process management fork is mentioned because if you even you close the Mongo, see, let me stop the Mongo and show this. Why need fork? So If fork is not there, what happens basically? If I start the Mongo, if I close my session, Mongo will also will close. So db.admin command or db.admin command shut down. I'm into test database by default. See, whenever you connect to Mongo by default, you will learn into test database by default. That is the nature. You don't keep anything in the test database. It's default database for everyone. Okay, even an unauthenticated user also can connect to test database. So we don't keep anything in the test. So to shut down from Mongo from testdb, I had to use admin command, then shut down. Shut down one. It will shut down. So one thing you need to notice here is when we are starting the Mongo, it is actually whatever I'm starting with my session, it writes. Oh, what happened? Okay, Ravinder cannot start. Only Mongo user can start. This is also a big problem you face it. If Mongo is not starting, the first thing you need to think of is the user who is starting does not have the rights. First thing generally. You need to look at that way. Else you will keep on troubleshooting, nothing you find. If you see, there is something happening. It is forking the process. What is fork? Means forking the process with this one to run it in the background. See, child process started. The parent process, if you see, about to fork the child process, waiting until the server is ready for the connections. Forked the process, child process started, parent is exiting. Parent means what I started. This is a parent. My session is parent. Mine is closed out. It started the background session. If you don't use this one, if you don't use it, won't fork the process. Forking means your session, like your session is running first, and till it is built the child process in the background. So once child process in the background process is built, your session is closed automatically, parent exiting. So the fork is doing that in the background. Fork is true, which enables the daemon means MongoDB server, daemon made for MongoDB, which detaches the fork the MongoDB from the current session and allows you to run the database as a conventional server in the background. So this is very important. You definitely have to follow this. If you don't follow this, what happens basically? Your Mongo definitely run, but one thing is when I close the session, Mongo is gone along with my session because you did not tell the Mongo that run in the background. That is what the fork is doing, forking the process when child process is started in the background, the parent is exiting. So though you started, just log it or log off, it doesn't matter. Till the machine is not shut down, the service will run in the background, basically. That is called fork means in this config file. You should know about it basically. Okay, that is what it means. The fork means we are asking the Mongo to run in the background by expressing this tag in the config file, right?
Yes, so
That's
what is the advantages of having this fork is true?
advantage is that if you don't use it, if I am running the Mongo from here, if I close my session, Mongo will shut down automatically. If I use the fork, it goes and runs in the background. You are asking the service to run in the background as a child process. Like, this is my session. It's a parent for this. Within the session, I'm starting one session in the background. So once the background process is created, just stop mine, kind of.
Uh,
So you're asking the Mongo to run in the background by using the fork.
okay, got it.
It must be given, else it won't run in the background. Bind IP. Bind IP is something. It is you wanted to how many people you wanted to make a connection on the Mongo. This is by default localhost. Localhost will allow you to connect within the network. If you wanted to come with a different network, you must add their IPs. If not, you have to go with the bind IP all zeros, so it will accept all connections from any network. This is a open, like you're opening the network to all IPs basically. If you go with the 0.0.0, basically. In the live also will keep this basically. Why? Because we have to enable the security. That's how Mongo will be protected. This is not giving the security at network layer. Why? Because every network can come and connect to the Mongo if they are entering to your network. First, they have to end because Mongo IP, the server IP is within the local network. They cannot come to that IP first. If they have to come to that IP, then they can make a connection to the Mongo first. If that IP, that network is compromised and user info is also compromised, then hacking can be easy basically. So don't think of hacking, like you have to definitely like enable the security. If you don't enable the security, Mongo can be easily hacked. When I go and check the Mongo here, it is not asking me by nature. Mongo is not asking me anything. It is taking me to a database. I am able to do anything and every database basically. That never be an intended thing in the live environment. We will see today the security we're going to talk about anyway. So bind IP is something you can restrict some IPs to talk, some IPs to not to talk, basically. Bind IP, which enforces the servers to listen for a respect for on the local host IP. Only bind IP to secure the interfaces that application level systems can access with the access control provided by the system, your network filtering. Example, you don't want to accept all the connections. Assume a case. You wanted specific IPs only. It is made for specific IPs. If you wanted to connect to Mongo, do the administration, connect to the server and do it kind of. So here, localhost means 127, you have to open this first. 0.0.1, this is the first IP you have to open because at least you have to connect locally. This is local host connection IP. Then other IPs may be private IPs or public IPs we never open basically. 10.2 dot maybe 1.20 something and 10.5.2.15 something like that. So these are the IPs basically, private IPs. We'll have the private IPs basically. So come on, 10.2.1.20, yeah, 10.5.1.10.5 something, whatever it is. So like this, you can open, keep on, like whatever the application you wanted to authorize, you wanted to keep the Mongo more secure. You just open the communication for specific machines, basically, not to all. So in that case, it will be, the Mongo can be connected from those IPs only what you are mentioning here. So this we don't use it anyway. We are not using in our environment. We are using this itself so that the server is protected by the network itself. The Mongo server is listening on the local network, not on the public network. So first they have to hack the network. Even they are hacking, we have the security enabled, so they need to know the password also to enter into the Mongo. Two-layered security we have it, which means okay. So this journal guys, storage journal enabled is something for the older version. For the new versions, you no need to mention. And this thing is absolutely same what we have used. There is no difference basically. So I'm taking it out of this thing. Right, that you need to know. And the port, on which port Mongo has to connect. This is a default port for Mongo. Keep in mind, this is a regularly asked question. What is the default port for Mongo is 27017. If I'm trying to connect to Mongo and I'm not giving the port when I'm connecting because it is listening on the default port 27017. If I change the port number to something else, I definitely have to give the port number when I'm connecting. It's mandatory to give it. If not, it won't connect. See, SQL Server also in the background 1433. When you have a default port, the browser not required. When you have a named instance, browser is required. If there is no SQL Server browser, the named instance won't connect. So resolution done by that one. Here there is no browser, nothing. Here you have to pass the port number, then only you can make a connection. Let's do it anyway. What I'll do? It's Mongo user only, right? Is Mongo started? I'll have to shut down. Right. db dot admin vi. Let's change it. When you change it, you cannot connect to Mongo without giving the port. Insert mode. I'm changing the port to 18 something. Okay, right. So now I'm going to start the Mongo. It will start. But if I'm trying to connect to Mongo, it won't connect. Why? It's not listening on the default port. You always apply the port because it's not a default port. 27018. You always give the port, then only it will connect. That's that's what you need to know. 27017 is a default port. If Mongo is listening on that port, you no need to supply the port to connect to the Mongo. If Mongo is listening other than 27017, you definitely have to supply that as a parameter to make a connection to the Mongo. It's mandatory. So this is what about the port. You must define if you wanted to go with other than 27017. Even you don't mention the port there, it will take 27017 by default. You don't need to mention the port basically. Even if you don't mention, it will pick up that port. That is the nature of the Mongo. But if you wanted different port, you have to explicitly mention that anyway. See guys, port is 27017, which is the default for MongoDB port for database instances. MongoDB can bind to the any port basically, whatever the port you have to use. So you can use other than this port, any other port. But when you use other ports, you have to explicitly mention that port to make a connection. You can also filter access based on the port using the network filtering tools. So here, actually, if someone is trying to hack and even they entered into the network, if you use a random port here, they cannot connect to Mongo. That is also a security thing you can implement on the Mongo. Why? Because even if they hack into the network, they cannot make a connection because they don't know the port. What we are using for Mongo. If they don't know the port first, they cannot make a connection. Look at the security's next layer anyway. First socket, they have to talk to the socket, then only they can talk to the service. So if we keep this random, no one can make a connection. Who only environment people can make a connection. That also is a secure way of keeping the Mongo port, changing the port number from default to something else. That also is considered as a security concern, security benefit basically. Then DB path. DB path is going to define data directory of the Mongo, and whatever you create, everything, all data directories will go into the DB path only by default, along with the journal. Journal data paths always sit together. You cannot change them. Wherever like data files are there, in the same directory, journal will be created. We don't give the path to journal anyway. DB path, which specifies where MongoDB will store its data files, and are popular. SRV MongoDB or varlib MongoDB are popular location. The user account that MongoDB runs under will need read-write access to this directory. That is what I was trying to start the Mongo from Ravinder user. It got failed. I was trying to start because this user does not have the read-write permissions on the MongoDB directories. What I have mentioned in the config file. We discussed all of that. Service account only can start. Why? Because Mongo user is owning the directory of Mongo, and we have kept log file directory also. Both are owned by MongoDB Mongo user. That is the reason Mongo user can start, but not the other user cannot start. This is what it's talking about. The user account that MongoDB runs under will need the read write access to the data directories. Basically, this directory is data directory. Log path, system logs. Logs means we discussed data directory, log directory. Log directory, it generates the events of Mongo. Whatever you are doing on the Mongo, it is getting written to that. All the events are written writing to that log file. That is also useful most of the time, like for monitoring purpose. Maybe you wanted to see what are the errors are raising, and what are the collections of. If example someone is deleted, is not accepting, you can find it from the log file also. That also we can do it. It is required for a lot of troubleshooting. Mongo log is required for a lot of troubleshooting. When something is not working, we'll go and check there itself to troubleshoot further. So var log, all products, in Linux, all products log files will go to by default var log. Basically, var is a like a default directory, default file system on the Linux. All log files by product will go into log, but we can define our own. You don't need to keep in the var only. You can build your own directory and then keep in that basically. We just went with var. We defined where it has to go. So var log MongoDB log, which is where MongoDB will write its output. If you don't set this value, MongoDB writes all the output to standard output basically. What is this? Standard output. Anyway, you have to mention this basically. You definitely have to mention the log file, then only it will create. Else it will throw the error. You must log append to true. This is must be here. This was I was talking again. Log append true, which ensures that MongoDB does not override the existing log file following the server restart operation. See, log reopen. If you restart the server also, it will clean up the log. Complete log will be cleaned up. It will come with empty. If you do the log rotate also, it will clean up the log file. It will empty. So if when it is log append, when you restart the server, the logs will be appended. It will keep all the data. When you do the log rotate also, it won't actually overwrite the file immediately. It will create the archive and then create a new file. For some reason you wanted to keep it archive, but you wanted to keep the archive for some reason, you can keep it in the log append case. Log reopen case, don't think of log reopen. We don't use it, as simple as it is. This is all about the parameters, guys. You need to know what is fork, what is bind IP, what is port, what is DB path, what is log path, what is the log append. We need to know. Those are the parameters we mentioned in this, the main parameters. Okay, system log and storage DB path, process manage fork and port and bind IP. These are all main components you need to know. That is the reason I kept it again quickly. Right? Let's talk about enabling the security. This is the main topic. Immediately, I'm entering to the next module anyway. There I'm going to talk. How do we enable the security on the Mongo? There is a process. There is a process to enable the Mongo or security. Sorry, guys, and connect. See here, security consideration. The following collection of collection of configuration options useful for limiting the access to MongoDB instance. Considering the following setting shown in both YAML and older configuration file. See guys, by default, you have to enable authorization in the real world. You must. And here, if you wanted to limit the access to particular IPs, localhost must be added first. Then rest of the server IPs you have to add it. So that only externally from these two servers only you can make a connection to Mongo. We don't do this, but you can do it if really wanted in the real world, basically. Okay. But what from where we get the actual security from the VM network. See, if you look at if hacker first come through the network, first he has to hack the network, then product. There is one more best security is change the port to something random so that the hacker cannot connect to Mongo directly. When that happened, like WannaCry attacks happened, Mongo was highly compromised because a lot of people are running the Mongo without the security. They entered into the people's network, they hacked the Mongo. Many of the servers are hacked actually. So you should not run the Mongo without security. That is expected that is from that onwards, MongoDB has given strong recommendation to all of its clients, enable the security. No one can hack our product, but if you don't enable it, yourself putting at risk. We cannot do anything. They said clearly. After that, WannaCry, WannaCry when that happened, like a lot of Mongo servers are compromised seriously in the market. So there they mentioned clearly everywhere. So you must run the Mongo with the security. Let's talk about how do we enable the security.
Hey, what is YAML format?
YAML format is what we are defining is a YAML format, and there is something called RPM. RPM is does not it will not ask you to do these kind of configurations. It will build everything, but does not give you the control. I'll talk about that separately. RPM installations. This is a YAML file. See, YAML means not only Mongo. In every product, the config whatever you define manually, that is called as a YAML file. Any config you define, you supply to the service, that is called a YAML file. Even a lot of products we will call the configuration file as a YAML file only. YAML file means you are defining what you wanted and how you wanted. The definition is done by us. That is called YAML file config file everywhere. Not only in Mongo, a lot of products will use YAML file configuration, which means that you are supplying the parameter to the service, what you wanted to enable, what you wanted to do, you don't want on the service, you defining with the help of the config file. That is called YAML file. YAML file, this is a common word. In the SQL, we don't use it, but all Linux products will use a YAML file concepts. Anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So see guys, database server health we finished, terminating the processes we finished, managing the log files, locking and connections, we have seen global locks and all, profiling we finished, changing the configuration file we're going to see now. Changing the configuration will simply and enabling the authentication authorization. Now we're going to see user roles. We will complete all of this. Okay. This module is especially important for all of you because upgrade is also getting covered in this. Anyway, let's come to the first slide. First, see, I'll do it and then come to the slide. Most of the time, I'll focus on the practical side. Theory, I don't even personally I don't like theory, but sometimes I had to make you understand through theory also. That also will be there. That is why I do refer to the slides also. First, let me do how we can enable the security in Mongo. Firstly, you have to create one user with the full admin privileges. If you don't create, you cannot connect to Mongo. First, you have to create the user. So let me come out of it. Clear. So I'm connecting to Mongo. I cannot connect now. Why? Because I changed the port. You definitely, if I do this, it won't connect. I definitely have to give the port that I already said, right? Port 27018. You have to supply. Sorry, 27018. Then only it will connect. Now where you will land into test database by default under test database. So if I wanted to create a user, first create under admin database. Always create the users under admin database. How do I create a user? Let me make this document. Enabling security on Mongo. I'll share this document. I wanted to create a user. This is syntax. Okay. Create a user, and always Mongo will follow the parentheses and document. I'll just wanted to make it clear, so that's why I wanted to write clear cut. This thing, this is a minimum. Anything, it will go in the document. Okay, function and within the document. User, what is the username you wanted to keep? Okay. Example, I'm keeping Biren just for the sake of discussion. And the password for him is, okay, I'll keep the password like this. The @1234. Okay. Then roles, I wanted to give some roles to him. So root role, root is equivalent to sysadmin in Mongo. Within the root, I am going to make a role. What is the role I wanted to give is root. Root is a superior right in the Mongo. It's not OS level root. It is a product level root permissions. And database DB, what database you wanted to, on which database you wanted to give the rights, on the admin database. So this is how you create a user. Create a user is a function, and we are creating the user parent and the password, the roles, root permission and the admin database. This is the permission available on the admin database with the superior privileges. Someone have a root permission, he can do everything in the Mongo. He can destroy the whole Mongo if he has that privileges. So one user must exist with these privileges before you enable the security on the Mongo. First, create the user in the admin database where I'm connected in the admin. Okay. If I run this, it should create the user. Okay. Uh, where we went wrong. What it is saying reference, create user. What? Oh, always db dot. This must be with the db dot. Always Mongo will follow the db dot thing. Okay. Right. User got created. Where we are now, see db admin show users. This is the command to see all the users which are exist in the database. Basically, show users, if you keep it, it will display all the users that are created on the database. So now an admin database Biren user got created with the root privileges. Now the user got created, good enough. Now what I'll do, I'll shut down the Mongo db.server, shut down server. I can shut down, it is shut down. Okay. Now I'll go and change the config file. Okay. See if you see, come on, see clear. PS Mongo is not running at the moment because we shut down. No Mongo is running. Now I'll go to the config file etc Mongo. This is called changing the config file. VI means VI editor. We talked about that already. Now I'm going to add one extra parameter here. Okay, insert mode. Here security. Okay. So here one space, two space, three space. You must, if you go to the cursor, it should go to the same first letter of other parameters. If example, if I give one more, it is not following that. It won't start. Mongo will not start. Let's do it actually. Authorization. That also will make sense. Authorization enabled. This is you have to do to enable the security, but I'm keeping this parameter, bad spacing model intentionally. Let's see it. If you don't follow the spacing, correct spacing, actual correct spacing is one extra space. This is the correct spacing. But if you don't follow for any parameter correct spacing, Mongo will not start. Let's try to start. Let's even dig it. Sorry, it's a Mongo D. Oh, it started. Really? Okay. It should not. Does it adjusted or what? Mhm. Maybe it's 4.20 it is resolved, but 3.6 it won't start. The spacing must be identical, else invalid parameter it will tell you. So, maybe 4.0 they just need the entry. They are not following the spacing model. Could be. I've seen many times. Like I did mistake and I was starting, I rectified and started. Many times I've seen. In older versions, maybe it happens. With the older versions, 4.0 is the latest anyway. So I always follow the spacing correct. Maybe I was trying. Good enough. It is working good enough, whatever it is. So now, if I'm trying to connect to Mongo, now security is enabled and port is mandatory because we changed the port. If I entered like this, can I show DBs? No, I cannot do. Why? I'm not authorized. You enable the security on the Mongo, but you are not using the security. How we can do that? You cannot do that. So you can authenticate where I am. See a db.auth authentication means you can use this option. We have two ways of authentication with Mongo. Both I'll explain first. Auth db.auth, then here Biren, and username is also case sensitive. You have to keep it correct. I'm giving the password. If I give this one, it will throw the authentication failed. Why it is authentication failed? Because you are in the test database by default. You had to switch it to admin database, then authenticate. It's mandatory. db.auth. Now you can do the authentication. See, now show DBs, he can do it because he's authenticated with the admin database. He entered into the admin database, he given his details and password. admin database verify is detail, and it is see if it is 0, it is authentication is failed. 0 means, see it here, authentication failed, 0. 1 means successful, authentication is successful. He is verified, now he is able to do it because he is authorized. Again, just authentication he did means he cannot see all databases. What he is authorized, those only can see it. That will see anyway. First try to understand. Let me explain this with the slide now.
Ravi, have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Viren.
Okay, passwords are not masked in Mongo.
Masked, of course.
So right now you are entering and it's visible, right?
Visible means you are entering yourself.
But say for
Okay.
example,
Okay. When you are entering it, you wanted to mask it. You have to do this way. You can do it. I'll tell you all of that tricks anyway. So
because
I'm
it's not
closing.
secure, someone's sitting by or just passing by can read the password.
All right, I got your point. So if you don't want to show that, then that's correct. I'll tell you all the best standards. Don't worry. 27018, and uh, you have to use the username. Username is okay. Username is Biren, and I'm not mentioning the password. Authentication database admin. If I use this, it will ask the password. Enter the password. Now it will not show you the password. This way we'll use it the password generally. Show DBs is authorized when he is connecting itself. Anyway, I'm coming to that point. I'm talking the types of authentication, how we can authenticate, different ways of authentication. Okay. Here you entered the password, it did not show the password when you entered.
Yeah.
So this way we use it. I'll tell this format. First, I'm at the beginning of the discussion, so no need to worry. I'll talk about all the standards that we need to know. So now, first thing is try to understand this. Enabling the authentication and authorization, basically. So first, authentication. Authentication means username, password. Authorization means rules, what you can do. You authenticated good enough, what you can do is authorization. The following procedure, first add a user. Start the MongoDB without the access control. Connect to Mongo instance, create the administrative user with the root privileges. Okay, root privileges. This is how you enable the security. Restart the MongoDB instance with access control, connect to and authenticate as a user administrator, create the additional user if you wanted after that, and connect and authenticate with the other user. This is something you have to follow. I'll keep these steps I'll send this one anyway. These are, come on, what I did here? Why it is not covered? I can type it manually, but why to type when it is clearly written, right? So time waste process, right? When I type it. This is what you have to follow, guys. Okay. Is it clear to all the steps? Say something.
Yes.
So it is so simple, and there is nothing complex to not to understand. But if you still have question, let me know. This is the process. What I'll do, let me make the steps in sequence so that you never do the wrong. See guys, start the MongoDB without access control. We just started as usual. So far we started without access control itself. Connect to MongoDB instance, create the user. How do you create the user? I am giving the query at the below. This is a query. This is a query to create the admin user. Create the administrative user with the root privileges. We are doing this. This is what. And here, someone is not on mute. Use admin. You must use admin. We could hear some background sound. Anita, we could hear some background sound from you. Yeah, thank you. Right. So see, on the third step, create the administrative user and restart the Mongo instance with access control. Connect using. Let's go connect and authenticate with the okay. Uh, Authenticate as an administrator with the anyway, you administrator means this is account, like Biren account here, and create the additional user. This is where we are going to talk about now. So till this point, all are clear, right? So Biren can create anyone because he is a root user. He can do anything basically what you wanted. Let's play with the further now. Okay, this is about enabling the access control on the Mongo. The detailed steps can be found here. The MongoDB university they have written. Anyway, you don't need to go through if you know all of this. That's it. Then authentication and authorization. Authentication is a process of verifying the identity of a client. See, authenticating means you are there in the Mongo or not. Giving the username password is authentication. You are valid or not, you are verifying yourself. That is authentication method means. Although authentication and authorization are closely connected, authentication is distinct from the authorization. See, they are two different things. They are not same. Authentication is something you are giving the username password and validating yourself and connecting. Once you are connected, what you can do will be defined by the authorization. What role you have, the roles defined by the authorization. Authentication verifies the identity of a user. Authorization determines the verified user access to the resources and operations. This is what exactly. Authentication modes. This is what exactly I was talking about. Authentication modes, we can connect to the Mongo in two ways. That is called authentication modes. So one thing, Mongo, let me clear this. Mongo, first method, Mongo port. I need to mention the port because I changed it to show you all. So now it is connected. Though security is enabled, you are connected. Where you connected? In the test database. By default, everywhere it happens like this. Show DBs, you cannot see it. You are not authorized because its security is enabled. You did not authenticate and you don't see any database at the moment. So use admin db.auth. Even after connecting to Mongo also you can authenticate. But here you have to enter the password. Someone can see it, as Biren was saying. You must enter the password. There is no other way. So people in Mongo, it's not they are keeping things like this. It's not encrypted. People will definitely see your username password. They can misuse it. There will be such chance. So now I'm giving the username password. Now we can authenticate. Now he is authenticated, and you can see the databases. So this is one way of authentication. One way of authentication where when you're typing the password, others can see it. That's not good. But I'm telling you the methods what we have in Mongo. So whether you use it or you don't use it, there is some method. Just know it. That's it. This is the first method. So what is to authenticate with the Mongo a user? MongoDB provides a db.auth method. First, give the database where he is created and authenticate against to that database. Not only admin, you can create a user any database and against authenticate against to that database. We'll see today. No need to worry. So now, when you are connecting for the Mongo shell and MongoDB tools, you can also authenticate a user by passing the user authentication information in the command line. This is exactly it is talking about. Now, I'll come out of Mongo. Mongo port, first port, then 27018, then user, basically, Viren. I can give the password when I'm connecting itself. I cannot give the password, both I'll talk quickly. Authentication database, you have to mention this. Authentication database, where you are created, there you have to use the database name. If I give this one, I no need to give the password also, directly it will enter the Mongo, and show DBs you can do it because you are a authenticated user basically. But I'm typing my passwords, people should not see it. I don't want that someone to see my password because my colleague is just beside to me and is watching what I'm doing. So you're not supposed to do this thing. Come on, this you don't give the password here. Skip that part. It will ask the password anyway. You don't give this one. Enter it. It will ask the pass. Enter the password. This way you can hide the password for someone. This is how you connect in the Mongo. If you wanted to hide your details, and also see someone really root user has comes on history. You can see the user history who is ran what command. In the history, if we can see, Biren, when he is connected, he has used this username and password, everything he can see. So don't enter the password. A root user can see every user history, what commands they executed. So when they can see, your details are compromised. There is a small command called history. Every user history, a root can see it. Basically, not root has a full authorization to see everybody's commands history. So if you do this one, root will come to know your password. Whoever have a root permission, they can see. All DBS will have the root permission on the machines, so everybody can see your password. Don't give the password. You have to make connections like this. Generally, this is the best standard. Okay. No need to see some. Even after you execute the command, someone else in the command in the background, they can see what commands you executed at OS level. With whoever have the root level privileges, basically. That is the reason you should not compromise yourself, your credential. So always use this method. I use always this itself. Which one? This one. I don't use a password when I'm connecting it. A lot of people will do that. They don't know how to even connect without showing the password. A lot of people don't know, seriously, who are working on the Mongo. So you need to know all the best standards anyway. So now we connected. Though someone is seeing my history, they cannot see my password. Username, fine, they know my username. That doesn't make sense to them, basically. Okay. Okay, fine. So now this is called authentication, guys. Is it clear? Command line authentication and Mongo authentication within it. Is it clear or not? Say something. Then I'll move to next thing. Okay.
Yeah,
I
clear.
better I'll better mention. To authenticate a user, MongoDB provides this is a authentication methods. Let's keep this notes. Method one, authenticating with Mongo in Mongo shell. Okay. I'll use this way. You need to understand. Use admin. In our case, db.auth. In our case, whatever I'm matching with our discussion, so that when you see the video, you can just follow this. Okay, this is the authentication within the Mongo shell. Method two.
Hey Ravi, on the enabling security on Mongo, there was a link, right? I think can you also put that in this
Yeah,
notepad?
fine. Yeah, fine. I can do it. I can do it. That I can absolutely do it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. It will talk about the authentication. That's it. Nothing else. Anyway, I'll keep it. Authentication. No, this is enough, right? Right. So authenticating with Mongo. With command line from OS level, from OS level command line, authenticating with Mongo using command line. Why? What I'm doing actually? Command line from OS. So then, what do? You have to use this Mongo port if it is there, 27018, and -u username. I'll instead of this, I'll do this. Where it was asked. This thing. Is this? I'll keep both if you want, but the best standard is this. When you give this one, it is asking to enter the password. Okay, this is the one way. Or I'll keep it both anyway if you want it. The same thing, but I also add the password. This is fine, right? When you look at it, you can understand, right? Everyone, say something.
Yes, we can understand.
Right. So these are the two authentication methods you have in the Mongo. Okay. This is all about authentication. Let's talk about Mongo user administration. Now we are entering to the user administration basically. Right. So first point, finding all users in particular database, particular database. This also I discussed. Show users will display all users that Mongo database have. So right now where I am right now in test, show users, you don't have any users in the Mongo. Use admin, show users, you have the user. db.get users also does the same thing, get users, which will also display all the users on the database. Two commands we have for the same reason, same purpose. Show users or get users. These two are alternative commands for the same output. db.get users. Run these two commands. Okay. Second command, creating the users. Let's do this. Creating additional users. No. Finding the all built-in roles in Mongo. Finding all built-in roles in Mongo. What are the built-in roles? Custom roles will create anyway. Okay. What are the built-in roles? So this Mongo administration is something. Can I make it bold? Okay, I don't have options, right? Yeah. Anyway, fine. So here, finding all built-in roles. What are the built-in roles we have in Mongo? If you see, there are a lot of roles in Mongo. I'll just give a little information. Get roles. Okay. I guess if show built-in role something. No. Maybe this is smaller. I think this is what. No. Just a minute. I forgot that command. Oh, that is what I guess. Show built-in role some command. If I see it, I can recollect. It's been a long time. Where it is? Come on, they're not talking. Just a minute, guys. I just wanted to show that. I'll explain the roles first, then move on. Why is there moving to create role part? So show built-in roles. Okay, maybe I'll copy paste if I'm typing. This is what I have to use, I feel. When I do it, Maybe I'm typing it wrongly. Oh, come on. Wait. I'll look at it once and type it. Show B is capital, R is capital. That's it. Okay. Show built in roles. Right. Come on. Sorry guys, I forgot that. Anyway. So this is a command. Get roles, show built-in roles. So Mongo has lot of permissions and roles basically, and those are available only in the admin database. We will run the same command in other user database. You don't find all this. They are limited. So queryable backup. So how many backups you have taken in the Mongo? It will come in the backup restore. If you wanted to query the backups have been taken or not, you need to know the queryable backup permission.
Yeah, hey Ravi, so when you're given certain roles to certain databases, you can restrict to have permissions on certain databases, right?
Yes, we can do that. That is, we did not go that far. I'm going to talk about that next.
Okay.
We are talking just the roles. What are the roles we have? Then I'll enter into the, you creating the users, giving the permissions, playing with the permissions anyway. That is the next step. First is roles. What are the roles we have? Queryable backups. We can see the backup details and all, and system level details like like a Mongo level details, inbuilt architectural details. This is, you never give it to anyone, even to the admin also. Root will get everything. Backup, you can run the Mongo dump command, Mongo export command when you have the backup permissions. You can take the backup out of the system. You can generate the backup into the OS file. Basically, backup means cluster admin, cluster manager. These are all related to Atlas or cloud manager. These are all related to external tool, not internal Mongo. These permissions will come when you have external tool and you are integrating the Mongo there. You need to have these privileges. The tool will anyway pick up that permissions from the UI, not from the command line. db admin is a command. You can create the users. Okay, you can create the users, and you can create the collections and all that. Admin kind of, you can you can do anything. You cannot create the users, but you can create the collections, drop the collections and everything. DML DDL commands, all you can do it. Admin, DB admin any database. If you give this rights to in admin database, whatever the database you create, by default you'll become a like a user of that database. By default you don't become a user, but you get the rights on all databases. This is very dangerous command. We don't give it to anyone. You're not supposed to. We only give data reader, data writer. That's it. Only two permissions, to the project people and the production servers. Other permissions just
What is the difference between DB admin and DB admin any database?
DB admin on a specific database you are giving the permission. Unspecific. DB admin any database, if you give it, he will become the admin on all database, whatever the new database you create by default.
So it's like sysadmin and DB owner.
Right. Sysadmin is mapped to DB owner kind of. He will become on all databases with the DB admin database permission. DB admin permission. DB owner is a full owner of the database. He can do anything within that database where he got the DB owner. It's like a SQL Server itself. Enable sharding. You wanted to enable the sharding at collection level and database level. You need to have enable sharding permission. Basically, we don't give all this permission to anyone. No need to worry. Host manager
What is
comes with that.
what is the difference between DB admin and DB owner? Because though both the same.
See, DB admin is you can create the collections, you can delete the collections, you cannot create the users. DB user admin can create the users and like extra users. User admin can create the extra users. DB admin can play with the DDL DML commands. DB owner can do both user admin, DB admin together. That is the difference.
Okay.
DB admin can alter the statements, can do anything. But user admin only can create the users. Okay, DB owner can do both of that.
It's a way around from SQL.
It's almost like a SQL, yes. Yeah.
No, but in SQL, if you have a SA access, you can create users and everything, not with DB owner.
See, in SQL, if you compare, DDL admin is equivalent to DB admin, DDL admin, data writer, both together, and even read also. And if go with the user admin, we have a security admin in the SQL database, security admin database role, equivalent to that, user admin. You can create the new users, give the permissions and all that.
Like
And
who
here,
have all the permissions, who can do sharding and do anything, read, write, sharding, and like all
root,
the
The root
root.
user.
root will have everything. I created a root user for Biren, right? All admins will have a root user privileges in the Mongo. Root will come at the bottom. Where it is? Here it is, the root. He can do anything. Anything means anything. He can destroy the whole Mongo if you wanted. That's not good. Don't think of the bad thing at any point of time, but he can do everything. Read means read only. He cannot do anything. Read any database by default. He can read all databases. Read and read. See, these permissions are only in the admin. I'll show in the user database also. Read write, you can read write basically. Read write any database means all database you can read write, which is not good. Read write means all DML and DDL both. Restore means you can import and you can restore. There are Mongo import and Mongo restore. Two operations you can do it. Root we just talked about is a superior permissions on the Mongo. User admin, you can create the users and make the other users, to talk to the database. User admin database and all database you get the rights when you get this one. These are the default roles that we have in Mongo, but no need to worry, we don't give anyone any of these roles except read and read write. Most of the time, that is only the maximum privilege we'll give it to application people. Read and read write, that's it.
Ravi, one quick question. So in SQL Server, we have a SQL Server level permission as a roles and DB level roles, right? So it's look like both are mingled here. So
No, these are the server level roles. DB, whatever you
all
see
are
in the,
server.
these are server level.
Okay, so
I mean,
because why user admin to any database is there. So any database means all the database, right? So
all
user admin means the particular database. So is it right?
right.
Or?
See, these are all wherever you see any database is a server level. Wherever you see any database server level. Other permissions are not server level. Only for specific database. DB admin any database. These are server level privileges. Others are not. Only 3 permissions we have server level, which is a DB admin any database, user admin any database, read write any database. 4 permissions we have basically at server level.
So
This is all
difference
to
between DB admin any database and the root.
DB admin any database. DB admin cannot do certain operations. Admin can only create the structural things. He cannot create the users. User admin any database, and root is equivalent. User admin means you can create a root user also in the admin database. This is a very dangerous role. It is equivalent to root. Why? Because whoever got that role, he himself make him a root, because he can create any user in the master database, in the admin database or any database. No need to worry. Let me explain one by practically. That's where you get the more clarity. So now I'll use the SQL DBA. Let's do the user show built-in roles for the this the user database. If you see, a lot of permissions are not there on the user database. Very limited. See, what and all you have at database level: DB admin, DB owner, enable sharding, read, write, and user admin. That's it. These are the database level roles. Those are the admin database level roles. Admin is like it's a master. Admin is like a master for us. Do you want me to guys copy paste this one? I'll do it if you want.
Yes, please.
Anyway, you can find it that command what I given. Copying is very vague in Mongo. Right.
Just for the clarification, Ravi. So like if I, before enabling to the security part, if I didn't created any users, like no one can able to log into the database, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
They cannot do anything. No one can do anything if they don't know anything. So now use admin. For this, I'm clearly mentioning use admin. Okay. For the next roles, user database roles. User database roles. Anyway, I'll conclude the security tomorrow, not today. We'll do a lot of R&D to make you understand. Right. Right. So now let's move on. Creating the users. Creating additional users in Mongo. Right. Now Biren only have the privilege to do that. No one have. So if I go and create a user, first show DBs. Show DBs. Where who wanted to get created. So I wanted to create someone on the lab database. Okay. And where I am right now in the admin database. Oh, sorry, I should be in admin. Let's clear this. So DB is admin. Okay. Now I'm creating a new user, db dot create user. Username. I'm creating. Let's create the username. Username Karthik and password. Maybe I'll keep it Ravi. So let's keep same password, not to forget. And roles. What are the roles I'm going to give him? I wanted to give him role. Read only. Let's do this. Let's come with the very basic. And which database I wanted to give him the role SQL DB. This is what, see guys, who is creating this user is a Biren. Okay. db.create user, username Karthik, password is this, roles, read on the SQL database. Where it went? User failed provided to what? No user field. Create user function. Do you guys see any syntax issue there? Just a minute. Okay, user, just not the username. Sometimes flip the mind, it happens. The security command, this won't come actually. It's just a user. All right. Now show users. Two users are there, or else db.get roles. Get both are same, I said, right? Both will get the same thing. db.get the heck it is doing? Why it is not getting the roles?
Lowercase r.
No, it's not lowercase, uppercase only. Get roles only. What happened to this all of a sudden? Anyway, we'll see that. So I mean, I'll look at that. So show users anyway. It is giving the users Karthik. Where is Karthik authorized to make a connection and the admin database only? But where is authorized and the SQL DBA is there in the admin? See, it is giving in which database user is created in the admin, Karthik. But the role he got in the SQL DBA. So now let's connect with the Karthik user. OS level you have to enter, then user. I'll connect with the Mongo port 27018. User Karthik. Username is a case sensitive. Is a capital? Yes, capital. Karthik. Password, if you don't want to use it, we discussed already. So I'm just giving it. Don't give the password as a best standard. Now, if you see he's connected to admin. If you where he is connected, actually test only, but he can enter into the admin. Can you do the show users? What do you think? Is he authorized to do this? No, he's not authorized. So if we do show DBs, what database you can see? What is authorized to? Only SQL DBA. Others he cannot see it because he got the right on the SQL DBA to read and do anything. He cannot see other databases because I specifically created a Karthik user on the admin database, sorry, on the SQL DB database with the read privileges only. So now you can switch it to SQL DB database. You can read all the collection if you wanted. Show collections. See, we have other database. Let's try to switch using show DBs. We have a lab. So if he is trying to switch, what happens? Lab. Show
So
collections.
basically we are adding a user and mapping that user to a database and granting the roles.
Exactly. You're exactly correct. Absolutely correct. What you said. So if he is trying to use a lab database, he's not able to see anything. Unable to run list connections, attempting to approximate collection names by parsing. So he's not authorized. He's not authorized basically. So he's only authorized where what database is showing for him. Actually, if it is 3.6 or 3.0 or 3. All older versions, it will throw the directly. Show DBs also will throw that not authorized to, not authorized on the execute that command kind of. Show DBs also you cannot see if you are not authorized. Even you authorized on one database, it will not show that. You have to go to that specific database only in the previous versions. In 4.0, it's good that at least it is giving you whatever wherever you are authorized to see. Okay. Now, if you go to the use SQL DBA, show collection, who is doing this? Who is doing this? Karthik is doing. How do we know? There is something called who is authenticated. If it is enterprise edition, it will give you who is authenticated. Basically username also will come when you connect, but in this community edition there is a problem. When you connect, using which user you connected, if you wanted to know current user details and which database against which database he authenticated, that also. See, you connected with the Karthik, good enough, you know that, but what Karthik, where he has the rights, if he wanted to himself, can he get the rights what he has? Basically this guy will get it. Who admin can get it? db dot get roles for Karthik. Only admins can verify other users permissions.
There is a typo.
Rules.
Oh, sorry. Just a minute. Why did I actually type it? It'll come automatically. It's just a role, I guess. Null. The heck, what's going on actually? db.getRole. null, no. Get roles. No such command is 0. No, we can find the roles. Get role. Anyway, there is other way of doing it. db dot run command. Okay, and there is some small command connection status. This will tell connection status. I'll write this now. This will tell when you connect, who is connected. Karthik is connected. On which database is authenticated? Admin. What permissions, authenticated user roles. This is how you verify yourself what roles you have. This is a command. So I'll keep this very important command for developers especially. So what roles they have themselves, they can verify when they connect to Mongo. So let's me write this. Oh, I did not keep it additional user. Okay. Finding current user details. Current user details. And roles associated with him. Roles associated with the user. We can use command. This is very important command, seriously. I'll keep all the output also, so that you get the fair idea. There are many questions on the security side in the interview, so be careful. I would request you to practice all tomorrow class as well. Why? Because you need to know what I'm doing quickly. 100%, you have to be sure. Most of the questions are from security when you take the interview. What privilege, how you do it, how a user can verify his own credentials and privilege and all that. Anyway, let's move on. So now, what Karthik can do on the SQL database? Actually, he is able to connect to SQL database and showing the collections. What he can do? He can only read, right? db.emp.find, he can read it, absolutely, it is fine. Oh, command doesn't have anything. db.student, it has a lot of data, right? Maybe small one, db.stores class one. I wanted to pick up small one so that I'll talk about update as well quickly. If he's trying to update, come on, doesn't have the data. Products have the data, right? Right, products. We know that. We spend a lot of time on that. All right, this is the data we have. Now Karthik is trying to update the data. Is authorized to do that? No. Let's see what error it throws. Update. What he's trying to update is item, right? Item earphone. Come on. It's trying to update some field value. Set AQY 2000. He's throwing the earphone must go in the quotes. Right. He's saying that not authorized on SQLDB to execute the update command. It is clearly saying that unauthorized. Right. So now I'll grant him extra role using my DB admin account. CLS. Okay, so you see that show users we have already seen, right? Karthik has this permission. I'm going to add extra role, grant role to user, grant roles to user. You have to mention this. Karthik adding the extra privilege to existing user. This thing role, just directly you can assign the role. You don't need to role, you don't need to mention, because roles 2 is coming there. So I'm going to add role. The role is read write. I'm giving him, and here what I'll give, DB is SQL DB, right? I'm giving the extra privilege to existing user. It is done. If you wanted to verify, show users again. So you see that SQL DB Karthik got extra privilege. So let me keep this command. Granting additional roles to existing users on a particular database.
Can you go on the back screen again?
Yeah, I'll copy paste and go. Right. Yeah.
Earlier you gave a read access and now you gave read write access. So now it has both the 2 times read access.
Yes, actually, you take the read out and then give the read write is enough. Both it
Mm.
does. Without read, you cannot write. That is a problem. That is why it is read write. Read is not required. You don't want this. Let's dropping the role. Drop role from user. Oh, come on. It's not coming. Drop, get roles, grant, and drop roles. Revoke, I guess. Revoke. I forgot, guys. Right. From user, that's it. I have to take out that role from Karthik. How you have given, the same way you have to take it out. So role read I don't want, because read anyway you are giving read right. Example, just I'm giving an example, taking the permissions, giving the permissions both. So that as you asked, and it covers 2 things, your question as well as and different thing. SQL DB, right? Show you this. See, the read is gone. So let's write this also. Revoking the permissions.
Does Mongo have orphan users?
No, no orphan. Revoking the permissions. I'll talk about that tomorrow. I'll finish it. Today we are only at the basics. Advanced security comes in the tomorrow class. Revoking the permissions from particular user on particular database. A lot of things we have in security. Right. This is clear, right? Everyone. Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
I'll share this note anyway. So now if this guy is got the read right now, can you update?
Yes.
Of course he should. He's updated. But can he create db dot create collection? What do you think? A
No.
collection is actually Mongo read write is actually very dangerous. He can. So what I'll do, testing 10 something, whatever it is able to create. That is a bad thing we have in Mongo. Read write just does not come on. What I'm doing? Show collections. What testing 10? Can you drop it if you wanted anything?
No.
Uh, this is very bad thing actually in Mongo especially. Come on. So the class one is also gone. Read write in the sense you can do alter on every level, DDL, DML, both you can do. You cannot create a new user if you wanted. So this guy cannot create a new user. Let me copy paste. I don't want to type everything again. Where is this? It's trying to create some different user. If he has to create a user, he should get the okay. I'll keep it Karthik to something whatever it is, or else I'll go with the Tilak. Karthik is trying to create the Tilak account. He cannot. He's not authorized. He's not authorized. If he has to create user admin, I have to assign again grant roles to user, username, and role is this and database is that. So he should get that user admin privilege to create other users basically. But read write is little dangerous. Still, we give it anyway. Read write will let the not only the modification, you can do the DDL operations also. DDL means dropping the collection, creating the collection, altering the collections, all that. Altering means adding the extra fields. It comes with a little we have no need to worry. I have the full slide for each permission. I'm just talking about today. Tomorrow I'll finish with the slides, look, permissions and all that. Creating user, this part is covered. User roles, we are creating the users and all this also here. Create user, update user, and you wanted to change the password, drop user, drop all user roles. We'll see all of this, and every role I mentioned in detail. Role-based access. Tomorrow I'll finish this, not worry. So what read can do, what read write can do, provides all privileges of the read roles, ability to modify the database and all non-system collection. Only cannot change the non-system, but all users collections can drop and all that. DB admin provides the ability to perform administrative tasks such as indexing, gathering statistics. The role does not grant privilege for other. DB admin only very limited. DB admin does not make much sense in the Mongo, but user admin makes much sense. I'll conclude with the practicals, no need to worry. And role-based access, backup, restore, every role I'll talk about what we use in Mongo, no need to worry. Custom role, all that. So I don't want to finish today anything. Just we were talking very little information about the security. What is the takeaway from today class is how do we enable the security on the Mongo? The procedure what we have discussed. Come on, where it is. The procedure here. This is very, very important. Rest of the things are very easy. Coming to the, we don't give too many privileges to people. Maximum read and read write. That's it. You should not entertain any other further permissions to anyone. Read write is giving most of the thing they wanted. What else they wanted? Like we cannot give any other permission basically. User admin, DB admin, all just namesake. We don't give it to anyone basically. Read, write, and read. These are the only two permissions we will give to project team. And along with that, get db.get users. It was working fine first. Why it is not working when I was checking second time? Right, it worked. Then what I did that time? No, one time I was just doing it was db.get roles to the get users. That's the problem. Okay, fine. So fine. So just you have to like few commands I'm going to cover up tomorrow as well. You have to just keep in mind all of this. So whatever I discuss, that is enough for security point of view. Just follow my class. Tomorrow, if you follow my class, you can manage the complete security in a best possible way. The best standards. I'll talk about. Any questions? No questions? Stopping it.